All right, fortune cookie fam. We are going to be looking at your horoscope for the whole week. So pay attention to your regular sign, your sun sign, and your rising sign. And at the end of this, we are going to be looking at Brad Pitt because boy, is he having a tough go of it. I will be right back. All right, come on in, my darlings. We are going to give you the skills that you need to survive this week astrologically. So thank you so much for being here. My name is Annabelle. I am a tarot practitioner and psychic for over 35 years. And I am also an aspiring astrology student. 2026 was my year to start studying astrology. So I am bringing every week you guys the news that I have learned. So this is for the week of August 4th, actually August 3rd through the 11th. And the central theme of this week is what needs to change before the next chapter begins. That is something that we did see last week. So this week is not a quiet week for us. It is not a quiet week. Let me get back to my notes here. We are still moving out of that Mercury retrograde shadow. August 12th, we are going to have a total solar eclipse in Leo. Our Leos don't like their sun to go out. So the entire period up until August 12th is going to have a little bit of anticipatory quality. So we feel like something's ending. We feel like something is gaining strength, but we can't quite put our finger on it. We know something new is about to appear, but we can't quite see it, and it's still behind a locked door. The biggest movements in our sky for this week: Venus will enter Libra on August 6th. Mercury will enter Leo on August 9th. Leos, you guys are going to be spiked up. Saturn and Neptune are going to remain retrograde in Aries. Pluto remains retrograde in Aquarius. We're approaching, again, that solar eclipse on August 12th, which is going to be at approximately the 20th degree of Leo. And the moon travels from Aries into Taurus, Gemini, Cancer, and finally Leo. So what we've got is a very striking progression. This week, we begin to try and act a bit more independently, move into those questions of money and security. We want to pass through bursts of conversations and excess information, and we become emotionally protective, but we finish beneath an increasingly dramatic Leo eclipse sky. So, these forecasts are going to work best for you guys when you look at your sun sign and your rising sign. If you know your rising sign, all the better. You can also look at your moon sign on here. The rising sign often describes your practical areas of life and practical areas that unfold. So keep that in mind. So the solar eclipse is technically falling one day beyond our forecast, but I did think that it was important to put in here because we're already inside that eclipse energy. So, here through the 12th, we're going to be feeling the feels. Leo rules identity, visibility, pride, leadership, creativity, also can deal with children and legacy. So this week may bring up some uncomfortable but important questions. Who am I when the applause stops and everyone looks away? Remember, Leos like to be the center of attention, so that's a little bit of the energy that we have going on for everyone right now. And Leos like that attention. So some of us may feel relieved when that attention disappears. Some of us may feel vacant when that attention disappears. So pay attention and answer that question. Who am I when the applause stops? Also, what am I genuinely proud of? What are the things that we have brought to the table, to our culture, to the world culture, that you are really proud of? Answer that question for yourself. You can drop it down in the comments if you'd like. What part of my identity have I outgrown? We all need to shed some skin, or in the case of Leo, shed some nails, after you sharpen them, of course. So, but there are always parts of us that we have outgrown, parts that we no longer need to cultivate and nurture and pay attention to. Remember, where attention goes, energy grows. So pay attention to the things that you want to see blossom. If there are things that you're paying attention to that you've outgrown, start to figure out a way to detox from them. What legacy am I creating through the way that I treat people? And this is really a good thing to look at every single day. I have a policy of leave an area better than I found it. Are we all leaving people better than we found them? And are we leaving a legacy of our effects on people that we can be proud of? So answer those questions. Who am I when the applause stops? What am I genuinely proud of? You can drop that in the comments. What part of my identity have I outgrown? What's outdated? And what legacy am I creating through the way that I treat people? Really important things that we need to look at. Remember, we said it's not going to be comfortable. We're going to be asking some uncomfortable questions. So we also have Venus entering Libra, Mercury entering Leo, and Mars moving on over into Cancer. So relationships are going to want balance. Communication will become bigger and bolder, and our actions become far more emotional. So you may find yourself having excess of emotion. Make sure that you use the emotion to fuel your conversations. Don't be emotional in your conversations. Use the emotion to motivate your conversation. So think about the ways that you are constructing sentences and the words that you're using. So what I like to do for these readings is I like to look at the good, the bad, and the surprises for all 12 signs. So we're coming up on that right now. Remember, pay attention to your sun sign, your rising sign, if you know it, your moon sign. So let's get going with that, kids. And I'm sorry, I just lost my page again because I'm doing crazy stuff here, crazy stuff. So I hope you all are having a great week. I hope your week is starting out fantastically. Let's start out at the top of the wheel. Oh, well, actually, we are going to do the general. So general astrological forecast. So the good news, Venus enters Libra on August 6th. It's one of Venus's home signs. This will soften conflicts and encourage fairness between people. Does encourage and foster diplomacy, cooperation. So if you are trying to work out deals, either with work or with your interpersonal relationships, this is going to be a good climate to do that in. People may become more willing to negotiate instead of just digging their heels in. So if you've got somebody that you've been butting heads with, throw out the offer of negotiation. See if they're willing to do it. As we get into that August 6th, they're probably going to do it. It's going to favor relationship conversations, collaborations, contracts, any artistic work that you're doing in a collaborative format, beauty projects, collaborators. If you guys are in the beauty industry and you're trying to launch a new product or launch a new collaboration, get going on it. It's a great time to do it. Social events are also really favorable right now. So it will be the perfect blend of fun and frivolity and work. Jupiter in Leo is going to add confidence and creative courage for people. So artists, I was just talking to you, beauty people too. You may get the urge to kind of step outside the box or go beyond the box. do it. By all means, do it. It's going to be good for you. People who have felt invisible may decide that they're finally ready to be seen. And it's one of those vibes. It's like in a movie where, Sandy gets the makeover and comes out in the leather outfit with the curly hair and all that from Grease, if you don't know what I'm talking about. So this is the Sandy reveal moment from Grease. Guys, if you're ready for it, grab onto that energy. You're going to be able to present yourself in a big, bold fashion. Mercury moves into Leo on August 9th, and that helps us speak from the heart a little bit. Want to give you guys a caution because Leo is super, super brave. So sometimes we get extra brave. Underwrite your words before they come out. Make sure you're telling the right story. This is a favorable period for storytelling, teaching through storytelling, performing if you are an actor, presenting an idea if you are presenting an initiative at work or trying to get an initiative approved at work. Putting personality back into your communication is really something that is happening now. You will be charming. There is charm in the air. You will be able to win people over with negotiation and charm, especially if you lean into that flattery sometime. So that's the good news for the week for the collective. What is the bad news? Eclipse energy can exaggerate pride, insecurity, and the need for attention. So those people that stamp their feet and create a ruckus and want to seem discerning by being complaining, those types of people are probably going to be on full display. People also may behave as if every disagreement or dislike is an insult to their core beliefs and structures. So watch out for the people that are highly flammable. Let's put it that way. Saturn and Neptune, both retrograde in Aries, continues to expose the difference between genuine leadership and demonstrative performance, or performative performance is really what I want to say. People may discover that enthusiasm is not exactly the same thing as a structured goal plan. So we may see excitement, and not a lot of substance. If you are in one of those situations, just go back, take a beat, and find the substance there. It's fixable. Mars is going to finish its journey through Gemini before entering Cancer. So early in the week, arguments can become scattered, reactive, overly verbal, not a lot of substance, a lot more emotion-infused conversations. After Mars enters Cancer, the aggression becomes more emotional and indirect. So it even gets more scattered. I want you guys to watch out for gossip disguised as concern, triangulation, passive aggressive behavior, emotional blackmail, public declarations that are made for attention or to focus negative attention on other individuals. People that are defending an old identity long after it stopped working. Meghan Markle, I'm looking at you. Family conflicts in which everybody believes that they are protecting someone, or interpersonal conflicts where people are gathering around an individual in the guise of protecting them or providing some level of protection. Want you guys to be careful. Take a beat this week before you get into any back and forths. If you are going to have a discussion or an argument, lay the rules out beforehand, have a timer, and keep an outline on you so that you don't get lost in it. All right. So that's the bad news. What is the surprise? What are some surprises that are in store for the collective? So Mercury entering Leo could produce a dramatic announcement, confession, or public statement. It doesn't necessarily have to be good, bad, but you are going to have something that will be announced and will shake you up a little. It may make you really happy, may make you really mad. Venus in Libra brings unexpected alliances or reconciliation between parties that previously appeared incompatible. This Venus in Libra and Mercury in Leo, I want you guys to be really, really careful. If you are in any kind of toxic social or family situation, this is going to be triangulation central. We are going to see people being vilified, people being brought in for an alliance. There's going to be all kinds of movement on this. Pick your team now and stick with it, because it's going to get shaken up by the end of the week. Make sure those that are on your zombie apocalypse team are 100% trustworthy. The approaching eclipse could remove some people from positions of visibility. And that is in the intangible. So the approaching eclipse could make some people just not as comprehensive as others. So they may be jumping up and down saying the same thing that they've been saying for 6 months, but there's just going to be like a veil over them. The converse of the eclipse is that someone who is maybe not necessarily deserving of the attention or accolades is going to have a light shown on them in a positive fashion, or they get elevated or congratulated for doing something that somebody else did. So a little bit of mix up here. This is a week in which the person who demands the spotlight may not be the person who ultimately receives it, and someone else steps into that limelight. So that is for the collective, ladies and gentlemen. We are going to go sign by sign now, starting with Aries. Aries, for the week of August 3rd, what do you have going on? The good stuff. Your creativity, your romantic life, and your confidence are all getting a boost from the universe this week. It's an excellent week to make something, promote yourself, present yourself as a certain archetype if you're looking to shift a little. It's also a great week to enjoy your kids or allow yourself to have some fun. So cut loose. I have an Aries in my house, and I really hope that she's going to cut loose a little bit, because she's going back to school soon. So the bad news, Saturn and Neptune retrograde in your sign. Ask difficult questions about identity and direction. The Saturn and Neptune being retrograde does kind of pin you in the corner and says, what do you want to present to people? What really are you? You may want to reinvent yourself without knowing exactly what you're going to be. Be careful of that. Make sure that the end goal is there. So you can't start out as Sandy, stranded at the drive-in girl, not know that the goal and the destination is to align yourself more with Danny Zuko in aesthetic. So pick your aesthetic and then break down the steps to get there. Don't just say, I need a change, and try and make a change. Don't make dramatic promises or changes just because you feel inspired in the moment. You're going to get there, but you need the steps to get there. It's not all magic, baby. What are some surprises that Aries can wait for? Aries, a romantic or creative development could arrive very quickly. So for you guys, those of you Aries that are artists and things like that, when we get these like kind of romantic surges for you guys in the universe, basically it can affect your creative development as well. So you may all of a sudden have this crazy desire to make like 15 stippling paintings, and it's going to be a series. So if you get that, just kind of hang on to it. If it's a romantic development, I want you to really go counterproductive and take your time with it. Get to know someone a little bit more. Somebody may express an interest in you and you didn't even realize they were there. Get to know them. Don't be so surprised by the overture that you kind of get lost in it. So Aries, bottom line, you're being asked to distinguish courage from impulse. The good news is your fire's returning. The challenge is use that fire to build something instead of burning everything down if you get frustrated. So sounds like you are going to have a pretty good week there, Aries. Pretty exciting. Let me know in the chat if you are an Aries. Let's move it on over to Taurus. Taurus, my grandmother that visits me in the kitchen, my grandmother that taught me how to cook, my Italian grandmother was a Taurus, and boy, was she stubborn. The good news for Taurus, home and family can become sources of growth. So if you are a Taurus and you are running a home business or an MLM or an influencer business, this is going to be the time for you to really let some sneak peeks of your home life and your family life. Let some of that show, because it could potentially add to that bottom line for you. You might improve your living space. You may resolve a family matter. You may learn something valuable about your family history, but you are going to see growth within the home and family. Venus and Libra also support some better routines, workplace, relationships, personal care, all of that stuff. So if you want to reset your routines, I know a lot of us are doing that because school is just about to start. You can get to it, start to work on a draft routine for yourself. The bad news for my Taurus bulls, you're going to feel pressure to keep everybody else comfortable. And this is something that you guys tend to do. You want to create the scaffolding, plant your feet down, and then have everything run on rails from there. But sometimes we get variables like unspoken resentments that may be building underneath the surface may start to bubble up. Don't feel like you need to manhandle those back into place. Let some other people have their problems. Be extra careful about spending money on your home or family just to relieve emotional discomfort and trouble. So sometimes when there is trouble in a family, everybody says, oh, well, let's, go out for the day. They spend a bunch of money. It's a great day, but then you regret that on the back end. What are some surprises that you can expect this week, Taurus? So family announcements and household changes could alter some plans. So there's a lot of focus around your home and family this week. So don't be surprised if you have to adjust because one or two of your ducklings maybe can't make that same time. Also, surprise, someone from your past may reappear and may have information that helps you understand an old situation differently. I am not a Taurus, I am a Cancer, but I did talk to my mom the other day and I got the whole story about my great grandmother that cursed my great grandmother on the dock in Scotland as they were leaving Scotland and coming to the United States. Maybe a curse that remains on my family. Hopefully it doesn't. But my mom came up with some information that helps me understand that situation a little bit differently. I was under the impression it was my great grandmother. Or my great grandmother. I didn't know it was the 3 greats. But anyway, enough of that. So Taurus, your bottom line, your outer life may look relatively calm, but something much deeper is arranging and rearranging itself. Pay attention to what your home and nervous system are telling you. If you need a break, feet on the ground, ground yourself, and then go take a break for a little while. That is for you this week, Taurus. Let me know if you're a Taurus down in the comments. Gemini, you guys know that one of my best friends is a Gemini. And this is for the week of August 3rd. Gemini, the good news, Mars remains in Gemini for most of this forecast. It gives you drive, courage, and an enormous amount to say. So you're going to have stamina and you're going to have mouth. It's good for promotion, learning, writing, interviews, initiating conversations. What it's not good for is trying to win fights. So if you have an ongoing argument with someone, don't use this universal energy to try and win that fight. It's not going to be fair. It's not going to be fair. That's like bringing a piece of cooked spaghetti to a knife fight. Mercury entering Leo is going to help you communicate more confidently, but I want you to wield it with a careful hand. Don't slew everyone in front of you. Bad news on top of that, you may be mentally overstimulated and far too quick to answer. That Mars is going to make you want to get that mouth out right away. Not every thought requires immediate speaking or publication. So this goes for text messages, posts, anything like that. emails at work. I want you to take a beat, Gemini. Do not answer. The world will wait for you. Arguments can escalate because you're moving faster than everyone else. So some of the surprises for you this week, a message, a short trip or invitation, or a piece of information can open up an entirely new direction for you. So if you guys are going on day trips, visiting around, you may see something interesting. You may even be told about an opportunity, a work opportunity, or a relationship opportunity from another individual. Will be some information that comes secondhand. So after Mars enters Cancer, your attention may suddenly shift toward income, expenses, personal value, those kinds of things. But prior to that, we're seeing a little bit of conversation and feistiness that doesn't really know where to go. So make sure, put it in a bottle, keep it under control. So Gemini, your words have tremendous force this week. You can open a door with them or you can bludgeon someone with them. I want you to give yourself enough time to actually answer with what you want to do. Because what's going to happen is you're going to talk too fast and you're going to be flailing all over the place. You're not going to have any idea what you're actually saying. So that's you, Gemini. All right, where are my Cancer crabs at? Guys, drop some hearts if you're a Cancer crab or if you love Cancer crabs like me. This week, Cancer is going to improve your confidence around money, talent, and personal value. Sounds good to me. You may recognize that something you offer deserves better compensation. Sounds good to me. Venus enters Libra, supports harmony in the home, and can make family interactions much, much more pleasant than they have been. So that's all good stuff. Look at what you're charging for your services and look at what you are spending your time on, because some of that time could be better compensated. The bad news, Mars is entering Cancer on August 11th, and that's always a little awkward for us crabs. It can make us protective, irritable, or emotionally reactive. So we may either attack with our claws or retract into our shell when confronted by people. So the underlying feeling of this is that we feel like we're attacked at this point. Like that is one of the ways that we feel when Mars comes into our sign. It just feels like everyone is out to get us. So just be careful of that. Mood and motivation are really, really tightly connected. So make sure that you just don't get a bad night's sleep and then somebody says something and you feel like they are coming for you. Just be very, very mindful of your fights that you get in or the fights that you feel brewing. Surprises that are on the way. You could make a bold personal decision that surprises everybody. Financial opportunities may come through a talent you have underestimated. So some of us that may have some vocations or talents that we are just tinkering around with. Maybe I'm getting signed as a cello player for some crazy band. I don't know. I'm going on a world tour. No, I won't be doing that anytime soon. But my cello playing is coming along nicely. Working on that 30 Seconds to Mars song. So just in time for Jared Leto to get in trouble. So keep an eye out for some financial opportunities. You may be a crafter and you may find out that the crochet that you're doing is extremely valuable, or that you are the only lace maker in the Northwest. So check it out, see what's going on, see what bold personal decisions you may make. You may have an epiphany this week. If you do, come back to this video and put it in the chat. Let me know what it is. So overall, Cancers, you're moving out of an observation mode and into action. Remember, protecting yourself is very, very healthy. Cancers, you're really good at it in a not so good way. We jump into that shell and we just want to, ignore everybody, or worse, we punish people because we felt vulnerable and we come out with those big claws. So just be mindful of what you're doing. I'm not asking you crawl into the shell and cry in your crybaby soup. I'm just asking you to give a little bit of pause before the clause. That's it for you, Cancer. We are moving on into Leo. Leo, it is your season right now. We are in Leo season. Jupiter is in Leo and the eclipse is forming in your sign. You're standing at the entrance to a very, very important cycle. So a lot of you may be feeling that there is some turnover. You may be feeling that friendships that were no longer working for you are falling away, jobs are falling away, those kinds of things. You are shedding your skin. Even though, Leo, you are a beautiful lion and not a snake. It's powerful energy right now for visibility, creativity, leadership, and reinvention. Again, Meghan Markle, please don't do another rebrand. We can't take it. We can't take it, people, right? So what is the bad that comes along with this? The eclipse that's coming in Leo can make identity feel really, really unstable before the new version emerges. Remember, when we transform, it's not instantaneous. It's not we go to sleep one person, we wake up, we're person B. It doesn't work like that. It takes us a little bit of time to transform. You may feel unusually exposed or sensitive to criticism during this time. Avoid forcing announcements before you're ready simply because people are watching and you think that they're waiting for, ta-da, the reveal. Make sure that you are going nice and slow. I want you to be ready to come out of that shell and present the new Sandy from Greece when you're ready. So surprises here, possibly a new role, a new look, a new aesthetic, a new title at work, project or public direction may emerge. But warning here with the surprise, there are some people that may respond very differently once you stop performing the version that they expect or the version that they're used to. So somebody may say, you've changed. And that may not be it. So Leo, this is overall a cosmic reset for you guys. You don't have to burn it all down. You don't have to destroy your entire life, but you may need to stop carrying an identity that was designed for the audience or the people that you have outgrown. So make sure that you are, I know you guys like to perform. You're performing for yourself. Please yourself, darlings. That's it for you, Leo. Virgo, the good news for the week of August 3rd. Venus begins the week in Virgo, and that enhances your personal appeal, your creativity, your relationship awareness. Also does shower some glamour on us. So if you want to start changing the way that you look, you can start doing some glamour magic with your makeup, with your skincare products. If you have questions about that, drop them down below. I can always do a video on that if you guys want. Relationship awareness, because of Venus dropping into your sign, you are going to be hyper aware of your relationships and how they're working. Not just like, this is my friend, this is my boyfriend, this is my husband, this is my best friend, but you're going to be aware of the inner workings of those relationships. It's almost like the skin falls away and you can see the mechanics underneath. Once Venus turns to Libra, enters Libra, your attention's going to turn more toward your own personal money and your own self-worth. So examine those relationships, but don't do anything just yet about them. It's a good week to prepare for behind the scenes, especially if you're going to be focusing on yourself next week. So this week, you're doing your reconnaissance. You're seeing what people need from you, especially with that stripping down of your relationship dynamics. You'll be able to see how you can best serve them while you're working on yourself next week. You can carve out a little bit of energy and time for them that's not going to pull back from you exploring your own self-worth and building yourself up. Again, this is the week for you to be preparing behind the scenes. You're building the set this week. Bad news is that the eclipse energy activates your private and subconscious world. So you may need more sleep and solitude than usual. Again, we may be neglecting some of those relationships for ourselves. So if you're doing that this week and into next week, you may see some people that are pouty around you that need a little bit more of your Virgo energy. Watch out for perfectionism too. That is in the bad column this week. It's a way of avoiding things that you don't want to confront. So you may be fussing over a spreadsheet because you don't like the numbers that are coming out. So just be careful about that perfectionism. Sometimes it's a work in progress and you have to look at it like that. Surprises that are coming up, dreams or intuition that have that keep showing up, same kinds of omens and signs, things like that, are highlighting a familiar pattern that keeps repeating. This is likely a karmic lesson that you have to learn. So pay attention to it. Speak with a spiritual guide if you need to. I'm always here. You can always book an appointment with me or message me on any of my social medias. Drop a comment down below. Ask me for some advice. If I can, I will answer it in the chat. Or you can always email me at fortunecookiestarot@gmail.com. An unexpected expense may come up for you Virgos too, but it may reveal where you've been undervaluing yourself. So think about it this way. You may get a balloon payment for something with your business, and then you find out that the fees that you're charging for your services is just not enough. All right. So Virgo, bottom line, not everything can be solved by reorganizing it. This week may bring up some things that need to be felt, forgiven, finally released. Pay attention to the workings of those relationships. It'll serve you better. It is reconnaissance this week. So I hope that helps you. We are on to Libra. Libra, Venus enters your sign on August 6th. This is the good news. It's your opportunity to become more magnetic, socially connected, more comfortable in your own skin. Friendships, audiences, and public apps, your social media, professional networks may become much more supportive. You too are going to be able to benefit from a little bit of glamour. So a little glamour magic for you. You just work it in with your hands. This is what I want to look like. And then you look like that at the end of your makeup time. So the bad news for you, Libra, a desire to maintain peace could tempt you to avoid a necessary confrontation. So you may have the chance to end a circumstance which is stressful. Take the opportunity, but be definitive in it. Don't dicker around with it. Certainly don't avoid it in the spirit of peace. Saturn and Neptune in your relationship sector are going to test which partnerships are solid and which exist primarily in your fascination or your imagination. So you may be doing some confrontation work in some of those interpersonal relationships. Surprises that are coming up. A friend could become a more staunch ally, client, or even a romantic prospect. So some of you may see the friend zone get all of a sudden opened up. You also may receive some invitations that introduce you to entirely new communities and cultures. There are some interesting things abound. So what my advice to you is Libra, if you get some weird invitation to go to, I don't know, a folk festival, an egg eating contest, a gem farm where you're going to farm for gems, go do it. It may be really fun. It may be really, really good for you to get out of your comfort zone. Venus is coming home to your sign, Libra. People are going to notice you. But your real work is deciding if people deserve access to you. So you can put up that velvet rope, give a little bit of VIP entrance only to the people that are going to benefit you. So that's for you, Libra. All right, I've got my Scorpios here. Where are my Scorpios? The good news for the week of August 3rd is career visibility increases. So a boss or a leadership figure, an authority figure may recognize your ability all of a sudden. Mercury enters Leo, and that helps you articulate your professional goals more boldly. So if you have been gunning for a raise, promotion, or even employment, what I would do is make sure that you harness this energy and be very deliberate in how you craft the statements that you're going to make, and then practice them like lines in a play. You are going to drop some weight with those words. So be super, super careful and practice beforehand. I know you're smart, Scorpio, but sometimes you got to be a little bit more strategic, especially because you have a little bit of the emotion from us water signs in there. The bad news, public pressure could collide with your private exhaustion. So if you are gunning for a promotion or a bump up in salary, make sure that you're not emptying your cup to the point of exhaustion. Okay. You are no good to yourself if you are exhausting yourself 8 hours a day, going home, eating like frozen dinner at the counter, petting your cat, and then falling face down into bed with a full face of makeup on. Don't do that. It is not the way to go. You don't have to be the one who gets everything done. Be careful about presenting yourself as endlessly capable with an endless supply of fuel. You cannot ignore what your body needs. Your body will break down by spring if you keep going on this kind of trajectory. Workplace drama could be fueled by pride rather than an actual problem. Stay out of it, especially if you are the one who is aggravated that someone else is getting accolades or acknowledgement for something that you participated in. Let it go, baby. You guys are spectacular all day long, Scorpio. Everyone notices you. You're bold, you're beautiful, you're bright, all the bees. Don't worry about it. Let some of the losers take the win for the moment. You'll live. Trust me. Surprises, professional announcement, leadership opportunity, change in reputation could occur. Someone who possibly underestimated you may suddenly want your assistance. Be careful that they don't fulcrum that into acknowledgement for themselves. But if they do, I want you just to let them take the win. Let them take the win. They're going to see that you did the bulk of the work behind it. So don't worry about that. Scorpio, my wrap up for you, people are watching what you do next. They're also watching what you do in the moment, especially in workplace situations. So you are the leader that they follow, even if you're not the designated leader. You don't have to tell everyone what your goals and strategy are. You can keep those to yourself. You don't have to bring it all out all at once. Your public decisions need to match with your private truth. Now, you can conceal some. The truth will out later. But just be very, very careful about people stealing your thunder. But more so, be careful about your response to people stealing your thunder. You'll get it back. Don't you worry, Scorpio. Let's talk about Sagittarius. Sagittarius, you guys have had travel high in your chart for a while. It's still there. Education, teaching, publishing, and spiritual exploration are still on the table. It's a great week to widen your world. a couple of weeks ago, I said, all my Sag fans out there, get out there, go exploring with the kids, go to a fossil location, go bananas, go to one of those gem farms and find yourself a giant sapphire. You know, this is a great week. We've been building up to this. This is a great week to kind of blow those doors open. Jupiter in Leo is going to encourage optimism, and it's going to restore a larger vision for you. So you may see that a trip a few states away is doable in the next few days. So believe it or not, road trips are going to serve you guys really, really well. The bad news, you may overpromise because the opportunity sounds really exciting. So if somebody asks you, hey, you want to go to this water park 3 states over, really look at whether you can do it. You have to figure that out. Check your practical details before committing to anything on somebody else's calendar. Mars in your relationship sector is early this week, and it can produce debates, irritation, or competitive behavior. So be mindful of your partners, your spouses, your coworkers. Just don't get into the push and pull too much. Mars likes to do that. Planet of war likes to create some friction between people. So some surprises that are coming up, long distance opportunity. I'm not talking about that water park 3 states away for nothing. Legal developments may be coming up. So if any of you Sagittariuses have things in the court system right now, you could see some legal developments. There could be a course or a publishing idea that appears unexpectedly. Someone may say, hey, I remember reading your playbook over at work, and I think we should publish it as a generic playbook for all salespeople. Could be really cool. Definitely jump on it, see if it happens. It may be really cool. Now, I did say that there's a lot. Mars is going to be tickling that relationship center. Your partner, Sagittarius, their emotional needs may become more apparent after Mars enters Cancer. So I want you to see if your partner is very excited, very sad, very weepy. We've got to make sure that we meet the needs of our partners, no matter what sign they are. So Sagittarius, your horizon is opening. Don't run toward it so quickly that you forget who may be affected by your departure. Don't run so quickly that you leave your purse on the counter or the front door unlocked, anything like that. I want you to see the opportunities that are coming, underwrite them well, and participate in the ones that are going to fit your lifestyle right now. That is it for Sagittarius this week. And we're moving on to Capricorn. So I am married to a Capricorn. This week is a productive week for examining shared money, investments, debts, inheritances, taxes, long-term financial agreements. I'm laughing because Greg and I have literally been doing this for the last few weeks. So it's a good week for that. It's going to look good for us. Venus also is entering Libra, and it can improve the professional image and helps attract attention to some of those Capricorns. You guys are not super showboaty. You like your work to kind of speak for you. And sometimes, depending on the kind of work that you're in, sometimes that doesn't do it. So this week, there's going to be a little bit of a spotlight on you. So people may be paying a little bit more attention to you. For my shy Capricorns, like my introvert husband, sorry about that. There's nothing I can do. I can't realign the planets, but you'll get through it. You'll get through it. The bad news for Capricorns, you may try to manage emotional problems as though they're business transactions. Not everything will respond to math the same way. Emotional problems, sometimes you have to use a softer hand and just kind of let them roll through. Business transactions, usually pretty black and white. 1 + 1 = 2. Black and white make gray, those kinds of things. So just be mindful of trotting on people's emotions for the rest of this week. Mars entering Cancer can energize relationships, but it also can increase conflicts with partners or clients or associates, coworkers, those kinds of things. So just be careful about that. Mars entering Cancer is really going to affect a lot of us. So I'm sorry about that. Surprises for Capricorn. A financial disclosure or conversation may completely change your understanding about a relationship. So hopefully some of us are going to be winning the lottery. I know it's Mega Millions or Powerball is really huge right now. We may do some numbers before that drawing. Watch this space and we'll see. But Capricorn, professional opportunity also may arrive for you through charm and visibility and connection rather than demonstration of capability. So this could be someone tells your supervisor, hey, so-and-so did really, really well. It could be, if your customer service, a client that calls up, goes and gives you this glowing, amazing review for your customer service work. Whenever I'm given one of those surveys, I always dial it up if I got great service. If I didn't get great service, I just hang up. But it's always good. Customer service people, just remember them this week. I don't know if it's customer service week comes up, I think in September, October. But remember customer service people, they deal with a lot of nonsense. And if you can brighten their day and talk to their supervisor and tell them they did a great job, it's all the better for them. So Capricorn, you guys know how to manage your responsibility, but this week is asking you whether you know how to share vulnerability without turning it into some kind of weird bastardized responsibility. You can't always turn somebody's tears off and you can't always turn a smile on. So that's it for you, Capricorn. I gave you a lot of work this week. Aquarius. I got an Aquarius who is headed off to college. This week is going to be him packing up his stuff. So the good news for Aquarius, relationships and partnerships are entering a major new cycle. Jupiter approaches the Leo eclipse and it brings new clients, new collaborators, new important personal connections. This is great news for my student who's going off to college and does not know a single person at his university yet. So actually met a few people when he went to I almost said initiation day, when he went to orientation day. Venus in Libra is going to support travel, teaching, legal matters, and learning for all my Aquarians out there. So focus on those. We're going to put a smile on the travel for anybody who's traveling like my baby off to college. What is the bad stuff that's coming up for the Aquarians in the world? Pluto in retrograde continues to transform your identity. You may resist relationships that require you to be seen too clearly and too authentically. So some Aquarians are putting on a costume, an identity. They're trying it on for size. I don't know if those are going to be long lasting, but they may be donning that guise to hide what they truly are on the inside. Aquarians, decide exactly what you are and then wear that on the outside. It's totally fine. Power struggles can emerge for Aquarians this week if they try to control the terms of every interaction. So negotiation is going to be your friend this week, Aquarian. If you haven't already, I say it all the time, Chris Voss has an amazing book called Never Split the Difference. It's 5 hours. If you watch it, listen to it on Audible, it is going to change your life. That's for all signs. Everybody go over there. Aquarians, you especially should listen to that book this week. So surprises, someone could enter your life very, very quickly, or an established relationship could require a new agreement or level up to something more substantial. Conversations may reveal that another person sees you very, very differently than how you see yourself. Again, we're talking about that costume and the guise that some of our Aquarians are trying on. So exciting stuff for you, Aquarius. So another person may act as a mirror for you this week. You don't have to accept everything they say, but do not immediately reject what makes you uncomfortable, because they may be seeing the true you. So we are moving on to Pisces. Pisces, what is the good news? You can make meaningful improvements to your schedule, your health routine, and working environment during the week of August 3rd. It's a great time for you to organize creative ideas. I know a lot of Pisces are artists. You can turn inspiration into a repeatable practice. So, like Johnny Depp, who started the tarot series paintings, maybe he will do the whole deck. I don't know. Bad stuff that is going to happen for some of our Pisces. You may take on too much because you want to be helpful. Burnout is possible if you ignore your practical limits. I warn everybody, don't empty out your cup. Make sure you reserve some of your energy for yourself. Money and self-worth remain tender issues under Saturn and Neptune retrograde. Just make sure that you don't spend too much. Make sure that you don't retail therapy, because the money that you have in hand, you may invest in your self-worth by buying trinkets and buying things that you don't need. Be careful about that. You don't want to get yourself into a little bit of a spot. So financial trouble does not help your self-worth. Surprises that are coming up for my fishy Pisces. A change to your schedule may lead to a better job, new clients, or a healthier work-life balance. I hate when people say work-life balance because I have zero work-life balance. Someone may offer emotional or financial support when you expected to handle everything alone. So help may be on the way if you need it. Sometimes we raise our hand. Sometimes we just send out a beacon when we're in distress and we don't even realize it's happening. Pisces, a lot of you are doing that. You're sending out the rescue beacon. So Pisces, for the week, your inspiration needs a container, but don't contain it. Just keep it organized. The week is not asking you to dream less. It's asking you to build a life that is capable of containing that dream and nurturing that dream. So that's it for you this week, Pisces. And that's it for all of our signs here. Thank you so much. Remember what I said. I want you to look at your sun sign, rising sign, moon sign, see what works for you. Let me know if you like the weekly astrological report. I think I was trying to do the week astrological report and then the weekend, and it just wasn't working out. So I think I'm just going to do the week for you guys. I'll drop it either on Sunday or Tuesday. I'm still trying to work out my fall schedule. It's going to be a little bit weird while I'm getting the kids off to school, but we'll find a nice rhythm for the fall, and you guys can have a great time here at that. So we are doing a little bit of a bonus here. We're going to do celebrity focus, and I'm going to do the astrology, and then we'll do some cards on this as well. Our celebrity focus this week is Brad Pitt. Timing cannot be more appropriate. My co-host, the Barnosphere on Loving the End Times. Barney is so funny. He's like goals, and he puts up Brad Pitt in Fight Club. Is he not goals for all of us? Just have to say. So we are all headed into this Leo solar eclipse that involves identity, children, pride, and legacy. Brad Pitt is facing a very, very public chapter in the estrangement from his children, the divorce from Angelina Jolie, and all of the other choices that he made about his primary personal life. So I want to correct a detail that's been circulating, and I'm not sure why this is happening. Today, it says that all of the children but one, a lot of the news is saying that all of the children but one have removed Pitt from their names. Right now, the only one that has been granted in court is Shiloh. So Maddox, Zahara, and Vivian all those three are still petitions and pending. It's not done. To date, and my research showed that Pax and Knox have not been reported as filing. So Pax is the second child that, second or third, I don't know, who can keep track. But so they haven't all dropped the name, but they've almost all of them have petitioned to drop, the lion's share of them have petitioned to drop the name, which is terrible. So it is, quite significant. Just to give you a little bit of history on this, just in case you need a timeline, Brad and Angelina reached a divorce settlement at the end of December 2024. Although their dispute over Chateau Miraval, which is their vineyard in France, it's not concluded with that settlement. We all know that Angelina sold her share to Stoli Russian oligarch, and that has been a point of contention between the two of them. I'm not going to use astrology to declare which parent or which kid is telling the truth or what's going on. Astrology can't prove allegations or tell us what occurred privately. What it does show us is the energetic milieu, the psychological pressures that maybe there are patterns and opportunities that surround a given person. So it does give us really, really good insight. Brad's natal chart. Let's look at that. So he was born on December 18th, 1963 at 6:31 a.m. in Shawnee, Oklahoma. And this is terrible. I don't know why I thought he was from Missouri. I think his family moved to Missouri. I had no idea he was born in Oklahoma. So one of the things, this birth time has an A rating, which means that it's well sourced, but it's not the double A level rating for his birth time. So it may be right, it may not be right. That's according to Astro Data Bank. You can find at Astro Data Bank a lot of celebrities and public figures birth times if they're available. So he has Sagittarius sun, Sagittarius rising, Capricorn moon, Capricorn Mercury in Capricorn, Venus in Capricorn, Mars in Capricorn. Seeing a pattern here. Aries in Jupiter, and Aquarius in Saturn, and Virgo is in his midheaven. So he is what's called a double Sagittarius sun and Sagittarius rising. This is an adventurer. It's also described as an actor, and it's a seeker, a man who wants freedom, a man who wants wants to create identity around movement, film, new relationships, projects, new countries in some case, and new philosophies. He will adhere to new philosophies. We don't know a whole lot about Brad Pitt's politics. I can't imagine that, coming from the Midwest, that he is super liberal, but he is in Hollywood. He is wildly successful. So he's been playing the game somehow. I don't know how. So Sagittarians are at their best when they are seeking truth. One of the things that is somewhat known about Brad Pitt is that he loves architecture. There is such truth in architecture, because architecture that is not firm and solid falls over, and it's not there for us to see. So I love that he has an architectural mind like that. And it does show us this double Sagittarius, because he's building those structures in his head. Again, I want to stress, he likes architecture, not architectural design. He does have an eye for design, but it's not just redecorating a space. He actually likes building a space. When I lived in Los Angeles, him and Jennifer Aniston had quite a large house that there was a lot of work going on, that lots of people in the industry were talking about. So it was some pretty cool stuff. And I remember I was so jealous because she had a boutique room in there for all of the freebies that they got. So Sagittarians, again, at their best, they seek truth. At their worst, they can become convinced of their own version of the truth. And it's at that point that they stop taking in data from others. They start to become much more, I don't want to say stubborn, but ingrained into their way of thinking. His son in the first house strengthens relationships between his identity and public presence. So, in my opinion, Brad Pitt, the famous person, is likely Brad Pitt, the same person behind the scenes. Granted, the split with Angelina, we heard a lot of things about what happened on that plane. Possibly he had some drinking issues. He did go to a facility and clean up after that event. But I think likely the Brad Pitt that we see is the Brad Pitt that he actually is. His Capricorn moon. His moon, Mercury, Venus, and Mars are all in Capricorn. So I want to look at all of this together. Sorry, guys. Underneath this relaxed, easy Sagittarian image is this huge dose of Capricorn. Capricorns like to control. Capricorns like to compartmentalize. They like to put things into boxes. Capricorn survives by continuing to function. So this is someone who may process emotional pain by going to work. Could he pick a better career? Absolutely not. He also may process pain by building something. Now, I don't know what happened after he split up with Jennifer Aniston. But when they got married, they purchased that house together and they started building it. This is Capricorn in action. This is all this Capricorn that he's got here. He took the marriage and started to build this new house, this new legacy. And that's still a very, very amazing, coveted home in Los Angeles. Look it up if you'd like. The Capricorn also may process pain by going into business or creating new businesses out of what they have. I believe Jennifer Aniston and Brad Pitt had a studio themselves, and I do think that he created one with Angelina Jolie as well. Concentrating on long-term outcomes are going to serve this Capricorn cornucopia that Brad Pitt has. Again, he's got Capricorn in Moon, Mercury, Venus, and Mars. I want to underscore that. His Capricorn Moon and Venus are closely connected. This tickles the love, security, loyalty, public respect, and his family structures. This is why I think that the loss of all of these children is really more painful than we know. I think he really is managing as best he can. What he was building all was torn down to the foundations. So we may see some of this come out in his work. We may see some of it spill out into other relationships. So we'll see. Potential difficulty is the Capricorn can sometimes confuse providing. They may confuse provision. I'm trying to say like giving people things with connecting. So with someone who is financially placed like Brad Pitt, that may be, I'm gonna buy all of my staff brand new cars. I'm gonna get all of the kids a new puppy. And that may fix the lack of connection. The individual, the in this case, Brad Pitt, may say, I created all this, I've created all this wealth, I've created this world, and now I can hand this off, and my people, be them my employees, my coworkers, my children, my spouse, will understand how much effort I put in this, and this will make up for all the hugs and I love yous that I didn't do. Some people may need more emotional acknowledgement that can't be replaced by a material need, money, or something that's just a token of their appreciation. So let's go into Mercury and Mars, both being in Capricorn as well. These can be extremely strategic. For anyone, it's excellent for business, producing films, and navigating a long career. I don't think that the Angelina Jolie situation damaged Brad Pitt's career quite as much as I think was intended, and I do say that. I think there was an inclination to have him removed from the industry so she didn't have to run into him. Unfortunately, he's not going away. He's aging like fine wine, even though I didn't care for his rosé. He is a fabulous actor. He is a gorgeous person. He's not going away. Angelina as well. I always thought she was extremely beautiful. She's a little too skinny right now, just my opinion, not body shaming or anything. We know she did have some trouble with cancer, so I'm not going to give her a hard time about that. She may be eating a restricted diet. Some people do go on cancer sensitive diets and those kinds of things after they have a cancer circumstance. So, back to Brad Pitt. I don't want to go too far into Angelina Jolie. So this Mercury and Mars in Capricorn, during conflict, it potentially creates a person who approaches an emotional wound as a problem to overcome, manage, or contain. So he may try and win in this situation. Family estrangement cannot necessarily be solved using that same strategy that like wins a lawsuit. So I don't know if Brad is trying to close those gaps in his family with this kind of energy. I advise against it. I think if he has to deal with the Miraval, the business deal there, or any other business deals breaking up, any of the studios or businesses that he had together with Angelina Jolie, and I believe Miraval is the only one that is still outstanding, invest energy into that rather than trying to correct the family estrangement that we have out there. Jupiter in Aries. So Brad's Jupiter in Aries wants independence and forward motion. He may genuinely believe in starting over right now. So hopefully we are going to get this Mercury and Mars energy in Capricorn to close out that Miraval deal. And then the Jupiter in Aries is going to launch him into another phase of himself. There's a little bit of a shadow here, though. Moving forward can become a way of avoiding the humility required to go backwards. So he may have to revisit the injury of the family and listen without controlling the outcome. I fear that this potentially is in regard to the children, that he may have to kind of step away from that and let them resolve whether they're going to come back. And I know that that's a terrible thing to say. No one ever wants to be an estranged parent or an estranged child, but I have a feeling that this Jupiter in Aries energy is something that's making him go, I'm kind of done with this. And as much as that hurts, I do think that maybe he needs to allow that energy to propel him forward and let those kids come around when they can. So his basic astrology from August 4th to August 11th, Mars opposes his Sagittarian sun. So Mars finishes Gemini at the beginning of our forecast, and it opposes Brad's late Sagittarian sun. It's confrontational energy here, obviously, because I was confronting that sentence very, very poorly. This kind of energy can produce criticism, defensiveness, agitation, competitive reporting. This is the back and forth that we see in the tabloids. I don't want to see that, Brad, so don't do it. There will be a desire to answer an accusation immediately. I think he needs to wait on it. First rule for Brad this week, the first rule of Brad Pitt: do not respond merely because you feel provoked. She's been provoking you for years, dude. Even if it is some of her other people, just let it go, my man. Let it go. Mars opposing the sun can make every criticism feel like a challenge to identity. The answering from wounded pride, and believe me, Brad has a lot of wounded pride. Each time the kids stopped talking to him, it was another wound to him. It does create another story rather than resolve the existing one. So the situation that erupted on that private plane is now grabbing tentacles all over the place. We all saw Maddox in that awful, awful Father's Day post that he did. It really was not okay for him to do that. If you haven't seen it, you can look it up. It was terrible. It was terrible, but it was a good picture of Brad Pitt. So back to Brad Pitt, back to our hubba hot stuff. The cowboy from Thelma and Louise and Mr. Black, all the other things that he played. Tyler Durden. Jupiter trining his natal Jupiter. So Jupiter in Leo forms a supportive fire trine to Brad's new natal Jupiter in Aries. It is potentially very, very fortunate and potentially brings professional opportunities. Psychically, I think that someone has a juicy role for him to play. Why? They never had him play The Great Gatsby. It will always evade me, but they did have Leonardo DiCaprio, who is like a junior Brad Pitt. This can also bring influential allies to him, creative expansion, and renewed confidence. So I think if there is an opportunity that is offered to him, a role, a directing position, I think it is going to kind of boost him after all of this personal stuff that's going on. Shadow side of this Jupiter trine is that Jupiter can enlarge certainty. So he may get very, very cocky or certain about things. That also can be a reflex to when you've got the formerly 7 people that were most important in your life all seem to be singing from the same hymnal about what a terrible person you are. Brad Pitt, I don't think you're a terrible person. I think you're fantastic. So, this shadow side also with Jupiter trining, it can also have him surround himself with people who are an echo chamber. They're just going to keep saying what he wants to hear. Be careful of that, Brad, because you do need to have some critical voices in there as well. You know, we don't want to get you into any weird roles here. So Jupiter supports his Sagittarius ascendant as well. Jupiter in Leo moves into a supportive trine with Brad's Sagittarius ascendant. This can help his image, confidence, visibility, and professional work. Again, psychically, I think if he's offered a role, there's going to be a director or producer who says, listen, don't worry about all that noise that's going on with your family. You're Brad goddamn Pitt. We are going to put you out there. We're going to blow you up. We're going to make you 10 feet tall. He may still seem charismatic and resilient in public, but he may be really struggling behind the scenes. I hate to say that. I think he can put on a really good face for us public people, but I do think that whoever this big wig in Hollywood that's going to step in and kind of give him a helping hand, it's going to be good. Good professional astrology doesn't erase a family crisis in this case. In fact, success can sometimes make it easier to avoid the areas in life that cannot be fixed through achievement. So he may throw himself into work as well. For me, we're going to read some cards on him as well. But for me, I think that is a good idea. Just taking a break from that. Saturn in Aries, it's squaring his Capricorn Mercury. So Saturn retrograde in Aries, it's forming a close square with his natal Mercury and Capricorn. I'm trying to be as specific as possible for you guys. And this may be the most important transit for the family story. So Saturn Mercury periods can bring really difficult conversations, silence or blocked communications. Think about blocking people on apps, legal documentation, consequences attached to past words. So there may have been things that he said in the past that these kids and Angelina Jolie are hanging on to. It can also heighten those feelings of being unheard, that no one's really seeing his side. He's got 7 people that are singing one song and he's singing another. This is going to require him to listen carefully, and he needs to take responsibility for the effects of his communication. If he's thinking about firing off a tabloid story, don't do it. Don't do it, man. Keep it in your pocket. Keep it in your pocket. Saturn asks Brad to become very, very disciplined about what he says. This, I think, is going to be a boon if he has a project coming up. But it's also asking him to examine what he was refusing to hear. So there's a huge difference between that was not my intention and the willingness to understand what that other person's experience was, especially when it's the experience of your behavior. Saturn in his 5th house of children. We're going to use the whole sign houses with his Aquarius rising. Aries is in Brad's 5th house, and that is the house of children, romance, creativity, and personal legacy. So Saturn retrograde in this house is going to represent an unmistakable period of accountability, delay, distance, or painful maturation involving children. Neptune is also retrograde in this house. So when Saturn's in the 5th house, when Saturn in the 5th house says the relationship with children cannot be repaired through image management, it's going to require time, consistency, humility, and acceptance of consequences. And I unfortunately think psychically that the acceptance of consequences that he has lost some of these kids. They are not going to flock back to him, despite the fact that he was daddy. Neptune in the 5th house also adds a lot of confusion. He may not understand how his children arrived at their decisions or what they're thinking, or he may have gotten very complicated messages from them, either due to their immaturity, not being able to totally express themselves, or him not being able to digest what they were saying. He also may be surrounded by competing narratives about who is blaming who. So some of the kids may have said, well, I blame mom for some stuff. I blame you for some stuff. So there may be a lot for him to untangle in this conversation knot. The healthiest use of Saturn and Neptune together is compassionate accountability. Acknowledge what is real and quantifiable. Admit what remains unclear, is still murky, and stop trying to force an ending. Elon Musk said, I owe my children everything. They didn't ask to be brought into this world. I brought them into this world. And I think that I like that. I like that philosophy. And I think that Brad Pitt probably has that kind of philosophy toward his children, but it's become so friction laden that it's impossible for him to do that. There's just been too much narrative going on. So I don't want him to force the ending that he wants. He has to force the ending that is right for everyone that's involved. So Uranus is approaching opposition to his ascendant as well. So Uranus in Gemini is beginning this longer opposition to Brad Pitt's Sagittarius ascendant. It's not exact during a single week or this single week, but it belongs to a much larger chapter in his chart. It can radically change relationships, his public identity, and the things that the motivations and the kinds of people with whom he surrounds himself. His old relationship patterns may no longer be sustainable. Uranus does not necessarily restore what existed. Again, It's a harbinger of these relationships with the kids are not really going to be repaired. Sometimes this does require an entirely different kind of relationship, one with fewer assumptions and sometimes interactions. There's a lot less control and more room for people to define themselves and, more importantly, define their relationship with him. So Venus is entering his 11th house as well. So Venus moves into Libra and activates Brad's 11th house of friends, supporters, professional networks, and public alliances. Hollywood, I do think, rallies around him. I do think they do. And I think it brings support, social opportunity, and really, really helpful advocates. Who hasn't been divorced in Hollywood? Come on. The danger is that he could retreat into relationships where he feels admired and supported instead of approaching relationships where he feels he may be rejected or discounted. So this may even be some of those last vestiges of friendships that they had together. Everybody knows when you get divorced, you lose some friends. I lost one when I split up with Angus's dad. Now I'm very sad about it. Lucille, I love you, baby. I love you, Lucille. I miss you every day. I miss you every day. So, we just have to kind of understand that those last final friendships may be breaking away. I think Brad Pitt gets to keep Amal and George Clooney, though. I think that was already hammered out in the settlement. So Mars is entering his 8th house as well. Mars enters Cancer on August 11th. I am super aware of this, and it moves into Brad's 8th house of shared property, financial entanglements, intimacy, grief, and psychological wounds. We are getting into the rough stuff here. This may wiggle its fingers into that open wound of the Miraval conflict or other deeply entangled financial and emotional matters with him. Miraval is a financial, professional, and emotional matter. Brad Pitt really built that from the ground up. It was an existing vineyard, but he went in there and he really created an amazing project there. Mars entering his 8th house is going to wiggle some fingers in that wound, but it also asks for some deeper emotional work. So he can kind of pull back from the acute effects of Mars entering this 8th house and do a little introspection. He can kind of sink into himself. Hey, be a crab, go into your shell, and just see if you can do some healing. If Brad Pitt were listening to this reading, I would say you could do a mud lodge, sweat lodge. You could do a float spa. You could go on a vision quest, do one of those things. I want you to get down and dirty with that spiritual center there and pull out some of those emotional thorns that you got going on. So we're talking about now the Leo eclipse in his 9th house. So August 12th, the eclipse is going to fall in Brad's 9th house. Truth, beliefs, law, morality, travel, publishing, storylines, narratives through which a person explains their purpose in the world all comes to light in this. The eclipse is going to form a supportive fire relationship with the Sagittarius sun, but supportive doesn't necessarily mean comfortable. So we may see some flary, sharp things coming up. The eclipse may not offer Brad an opportunity to change the story he tells about himself. It's not this public relations story. It's not the Angelina story. It's not the kids' story. This is his private explanation for how all of this happened, and it doesn't have to be public. This is something that he can sit down and write the narrative. He can write the story, which I think is really a valuable tool for a lot of people. You actually write the story of what went down in your world and how you got to where you are. It is absolutely healing. So it doesn't leave a lot of room for his own mistakes to be swept under the carpet. The eclipse may expose some of the limitations of the narrative that he tells of him in his best presentation. So if he's willing to seek a more complete truth, it could be the beginning of genuine change in that direction. This is, the epiphany moment for some people. So he's got a lot on his plate. Let's see what's going on with him. So let's look at his astrology the way that I do it for you guys. So the good stuff, he's got strong professional and creative opportunities that are coming up, supportive friends, influential allies. We like that. There's a chance to communicate with more maturity and clarity. And there's an opening to redefine his legacy that we're going to remember when he is gone. A lot of potential for therapeutic or spiritual insight, but he's got to go into his own for that. And there's possibilities of beginning a private process of emotional, spiritual, personal repair. The bad stuff is that Brad could become defensive or have some wounded pride. You can only have people vilify you so many times before you react to it. He may try and litigate an emotional issue. I wouldn't do that. If he's insisting on going back to family court to have the kids speak with him or adhere to visitation schedules, I think he just needs to kind of lay that sword down for a little bit and let the kids come to them in their own time. Confusing public support with personal vindication. We saw this in action with the Team Angelina, Team Jen charts. There's a lot of public opinion on that. Don't listen to people that confirm your own version of things, Brad. You want to have some dissenting voices in your inner sanctum because that is where growth comes from, and also letting you see the real you. Don't respond through representatives or the press. Certainly none of the tabloid back and forth tit for tat that we sometimes see. Don't expect forgiveness because you're ready to move forward. The bridges that you're going to have to build between these kids, it's going to take a while. I'm sorry to say that. I know that can be really, really difficult. So some of the surprises, some relationships may not be as permanent as they previously appeared. And I do think that this may be the kid situation. An unexpected third party potentially acts as a bridge between two conflicts. So we may get somebody who steps into the middle of this and says, hey, Angelina, Brad, like your kids are suffering here. Let's see if we can get them all on the same page. Maybe it's a therapist. Maybe it is a close and personal friend. Professional success for Brad Pitt may force him to confront how his public life and private pain are very different. What I said before, that publicly and privately, he is really the same person. His chart says that. But right now, I think he is hiding a lot of that private pain. I think he's really, really struggling. And I hope that he's doing okay. He is, from what I understand, sober now. I hope he's getting a lot of support as needed. Some other surprises, a legal or financial development could potentially reopen an emotional issue, possibly Marival, more likely with the kids. So one of the surprises, he may discover that repair begins with a message that asks for nothing in return. That is also a response. He may send messages that are not responded to. And the message getting out there is good enough. Okay. They're not mocking you. They're just mixed up kids. They're not even ready yet. So here we go, guys. Let's pull up some cards for Brad Pitt here. Guy absolutely deserves a little bit of a yellow brick road here. I am using the Tarot of the Divine today. This is the deck that has all the world's fairy tales, cultural folk tales, and stories. I am having so much trouble speaking today. So let's take a look. What are we going to do? We are going to do the yellow brick road here. So where is his path right now? The path. This Queen of Swords, I think, is fantastic because he's deciding what to keep, what to leave, what to prune, how to move forward. We have the pressure here, the pressure of being on the outside. 5 of Coins. It can be the orphan card. He is all on his own. He's shoved out of the picture. What is the hidden hand here? The hidden hand is that this is, and I hate to say it, going to give him fuel for roles in the future. Public face we are going to get over there. The death card transformation, not Mr. Black or Joe Black. Was it Joe Black? The public face, we're going to get some transformation. We're going to see him change a little bit. The private goal is to hide his pain. He's going to hide his pain. That's unfortunate. And our likely pivot, last card for Brad Pitt. We've got the 5 of Wands. He's absolutely going to be throwing himself into work. That is my prediction for these cards. Let's take a few more while we're here. I know this is a crazy long reading, but you guys have waited long enough. I had a thunderstorm this morning and I had to get a late start. So what does Brad need to really understand during this period from August 4th through the 11th as we are going into this Leo solar eclipse? Where is Brad standing now? What is his emotional position right now? The truth of where he is. King of Swords, he doesn't want any of this breakup energy. He does not. He wants to go back to the happier moments in his life. Where is Brad standing now? He is firmly depicted as the devil. He has to just stay like this. He too sees himself as the devil. He is going to dig those heels in and stay in the place where he is. I do think that a little bit of ego and know-it-allness, he's kind of staying in one place. So that may be a little bit tricky for him. You know, righteousness, sometimes you got to be a little bit flexible. What is an obstacle at the end of the road for him? The 2 of Coins, the different lives that they're living. Any allies that he has? Does he have any allies that he can rely on? 10 of Swords. Don't rely on anybody. There is information that is going out. He's got to just kind of work this by himself. He really does. Any corrective action that he can take. The 3 of Cups. Now, the 3 of Cups is a drinking card. I don't want him going out and drinking, but I do want him leaning into the things that make him feel great. So I know he has a shiny new girlfriend. Well, she's not shiny and new, but she's a girlfriend. I think maybe go have some fun with the girlfriend. Take your end of the summer trip with them, with her. Have some fun with that. See if you can move on. Where can Brad end up at the end of the week? The Moon in reverse, exposed. In what fashion? The Hangman. You know what? Again, I think they're going to try and hang him up as someone who does not learn from their mistakes, someone who is a flashpoint, doesn't take their time, doesn't answer in a kind fashion. You know, if you look deep enough, you will read that some people that had been in the Pitt Jolie household, that the kids were running like bananas around the house. Like they were riding bikes in the house. They were doing all kinds of crazy stuff. So it was a bit of a chaotic household. The kids all were speaking multiple languages, had multiple tutors. I believe they were all homeschooled. You know, I think out of this chaos, we cannot get order. We cannot get order. I do think at the end of this week, we may hear some negative things about him. And the strongest message in his astrology for this week is not that he's being punished by the planets. It's that he's arrived at a point of accountability. This is where he can truly make those amends, not to the others, but really to himself. He's got to
find that peace within himself. He's got supportive energy around his career, visibility, and future. The family story, it's going to require something other than his riz, his achievement, or even his legal strategies. So Saturn in the house of children asks for patience. And I'm going to echo that, because I do think that he needs to have a great deal of patience with these kids going through their lives and coming back around. Neptune does ask for compassion and honesty about what remains unclear, especially to him. And the Leo eclipse is going to ask him to examine his pride, identity, and legacy. And it may change some of the legal moves that he's made in his world so far with this whole Angelina Jolie debacle. So we're not asking just like, how can Brad Pitt get his kids back? The question is, can he become emotionally sound himself enough for them to decide freely and in their own time of what kind of relationship they're willing to have with him? It's a hard road, but it's the only road that I can see him going down and coming out in any fashion on top of it. So I hope you guys enjoyed this. This was really long. Let me know if you like this format for the astrological news. It's the whole week, so it's a little bit longer. We talk about the energy that's present everywhere. Then we go through all of the signs with the good, the bad, and the surprises that come up. If you guys want me to add some other stuff in there, I can. We can break it down into career, love, family. We can do all that. Your comments and recommendations are highly valued. Drop them down below. We'll also always feature a celebrity, maybe not quite so robustly. I got away from myself with the Brad Pitt chart, but maybe not quite as robustly. But we will look at a celebrity, either one from Mixtape Monday or one that I think is important for you guys to see. So hopefully that helps you guys with your week. Hopefully it helps Brad Pitt with his week. So thank you so much, guys, for being here. Thank you for watching. Please like, share, and subscribe. And remember, if you do want to get a reading with me, you're going to have to book really, really quickly, because I don't even know if I'm going to work Friday night. I think I'm going to take Friday through Tuesday off, because Angus is getting dropped off at school on Monday. I've got a lot of work to do in between now and then, getting him packed up and getting him ready. But if you guys want readings, I am working during the day. Text message readings are available all the time, no matter what, 23 hours and 45 minutes a day. The pay what you can, I have 3 of those that are available every week. That is a half-hour reading. You only pay what you can. This is to help support some of my viewers and clients that maybe have some financial struggles that are going on. I want to make sure that I keep my skill set available to all of you. Also, we have the full bore reading, the full hour reading. You can book those all at the Calendly link in the description of this video. What else? What else is going on, guys? Don't forget, tomorrow night, Wednesday, I will be live at, I think I put it up for 7 o'clock, or 7 or 8 o'clock. I will be live. I'm going to take over the space where we used to have Love in the End Times. That will be back. Barney and I just have some scheduling issues. Today, Tuesday, there will be a live at 1 o'clock, and we're going to go right over to the Tarot Guild for their live right after. I really want my community to go over there and hang out with them. They're a great bunch of people, as always. So, and also on Friday, we're going to have our members into general audience live. Members, we're going to be doing the giveaway this week, so make sure that you're there. You got to be in it to win it. If you're a member of my channel, you get early access to all the videos, a permanent discount for readings. Every month I put it up. You have your own private link over there. It's a discounted reading for you guys just for being members. And you also get a private live session on Friday mornings where our community can come together and we can chit chat in there. and have a great time. As soon as I get these kids off to school for the month of September, we're going to be doing Psychic Detective off YouTube. So guys, get ready. I'm going to start booking those every weekend because I'm not going to have any kids here. So I am going to be busy. But it's basically where I teach you guys how to do a little bit of psychic remote view. We're going to go into a meditative state, and then we're going to go look at some crime scenes. We've already looked at the Martha Moxley case, Lizzie Borden, the Jack the Ripper. We went to one of the Jack the Ripper sites. And what else did we do? I think we did some others, but it's great fun. Ask in the comments if anybody has ever attended one. You get some great feedback. It's a lot of fun. Everybody is psychic. I can teach you how to do it, and I can teach you how to do it really, really quickly and fun in these remote psychic detective events. So hope to see some of you there. So that's it for me. This was a long video. I hope you stuck around for it. Have a great day. May the stars be with you. See you in the future.